right. Welcome to the Patriot Hour.
Patriot.
We are some Patriots. We're in the studio bringing you something real special today.
Gotta love the Hogan intro. Love the Hogan intro. Please comment on if you're loving that. Digging it. 80s WF superstar.
It's our version of it for sure. That takes me way back for sure. Remembering that.
Who doesn't get excited about being an American?
That's right. Land of the free, home of the brave. On that topic, Second Amendment.
Big topic today, this week, probably next week, until something else happens. Big topic. Mike, let me ask you something. How do you feel about guns, schools, security at schools? Anything coming right off the top of your head? What you want to see, what you're not seeing, anything?
My personal feelings on that are, there's not enough security in the schools. We have tons of returning veterans. I know they, in the last 10, 15, 20 years, they've been big on getting metal detectors and
Makeshift prisons.
Yeah.
To get educated for our children. Prisons. That's got to play something on the emotional psyche as a child walking into a school. Are they feeling like they're going to school, or they feel like convicts?
Being watched all day, and I don't know. There was a threat of that when I was in school. Security cameras, and what about you?
Up until I was junior, maybe we're talking 97 to 99. Hell, I remember, being able to walk out and smoke a cigarette if you were a smoker. At some point you had to hide that or whatnot. I think it was when I was a senior, that would have been 98, 99. They actually started locking the doors. We had an incident in our local area, not even near the school, but the kid was a student. He ended up dragging his grandmother, off the road, and with the help of a friend. Shortly after that incident, we got to lock the school down. Well, it happened 6.5 miles from the school, but whatever. Apparently the kid must have had it in his backpack. So about the time I was a senior, they started locking doors. No security. Other than that, you didn't have to hit a 4-digit PIN to get in, and I know some people are big on that. That could be simple, I suppose, but I didn't go to school feeling like I was in prison. The teachers were allowed to do their jobs and manage the situations.
No, now I've seen many a gun in school. Starting with 7th grade, we had an incident, and where I went to school at. So there was a 7th grade incident. I remember that was really huge. Not that the gun was fired or went off, but somebody had one. And then again in high school, I witnessed, it was actually in the gym, and there was a bunch of people playing basketball over here, and the janitor hit the bleachers to shut, so they're coming in on their own. And then I saw something sticking out at the very bottom on that brush plate of the folding chair
apparatus.
What do you call that? The bleachers or whatever.
Yeah,
so the whole bleachers automatically, they put a key in and it kind of shuts. And I saw something sticking out, and I'm watching. Then this one kid that was playing ball ran over there. He must have and grabbed it, and when he pulled it out from the bottom, it was a gun. Shoved it. So they were around. Has it gotten worse? Has it gotten more in the mainstream?
Oh, without a doubt.
And why? That's the question of a lot of the mainstream right now, or just maybe anybody out there listening. Why has it gotten worse?
Personal belief. How it got worse, why it got worse, kind of sums it up in a nutshell. It has nothing to do with politics. Zero to do with politics. We were taking guns to school and leaving them in our rear windows, hunters or whatnot.
Loaded.
Loaded, completely loaded. But morality in this country, split homes, video games, violent video games. Not too long ago, I used to say, it can't be the video games, We got to quit blaming stuff. But then as I get a little older and raise my own children, I realize, if you throw this stuff in front of their face over and over and over, and then you implement the bullyism, by the way, I was bullied. You were probably bullied. We all see. So bullyism is kind of a little bit of BS in my book, too. I mean, toughen up, buttercup. You know, you don't need padded safe rooms and safe places. It's part of passage. But along with social medias and video games and the lack of parenting, you know, I teach my kids this is a gun. It can kill you. They know how to shoot.
Safety first, you know. I mean, you teach them young the safety mechanism, you know, mechanics of a gun, and you know, not to ever point it at anybody. Just the basics, folks. That's something that's probably been stripped away for sure. The basics, just like.
Well, maybe there's too many parents with guns that don't know how to use guns. Now, listen, parenting is probably the biggest problem. Are we all perfect parents? Probably not. But what you don't want is a bad parent with a gun and doesn't teach said child about guns. Free reign, leaving it on an end table, or, you know, it's all parenting. My kids, without a doubt in my mind, would never think about going to school and shooting somebody. They know that they're supposed to defend their property and their family. That's about it. But
well, anything bad I ever learned was on the playground at school from other kids.
Amen.
That's
yeah.
You know, that's where we did a lot of you know, experimenting,
Trial and error.
You know, you're a kid. So
Johnny did this, so I'm going to try this. Well, Johnny can shoot up a school. My daddy raised me well enough to know not to try to shoot up a school because your life then is over.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be that guy, but every now and again you have a child that's disgruntled, bullied, bad parenting, too many video games, maybe too many medications shoved down one's throat. Maybe these kids aren't thinking clearly. So we can make excuses until we're blue in the face, but it's never the gun's fault. Never.
Oh, no. Well, that's why I brought up some interesting facts. What I got up this American Bar Association it's a standing committee on gun violence. So let's bring this up for the viewers.
See if you can get that down here to my eye. There you go. Perfect. The average number of school-associated violent events with multiple victims has increased from 1 event per school year in 1992 to 5 in 1998. So this is a little bit outdated, but boy, I guess if they did update it, we're talking 98. I got to imagine that was when I was junior, sophomore, whatever.
Is this that old?
It's probably doubled since then. Who knows?
Well, let me see here. So
the American Bar Association, a bunch of lawyers, they would know better than me about this topic, I'm sure.
Defending liberty, pursuing justice. Huh.
Oh, I think they should switch that around and say pursuing justice and crapping all over defending your civil liberties. Let's. I want to jump into this one. This one's been on my mind all day. I asked Mike if we could get at this. I don't know how long this segment will be, but I want to get into kind of like how I opened up. You know, I asked what you thought about guns in school and security, but I want to bring up one that's going to aggravate probably half our listeners. And here's why. And I don't mean nothing by this. I'm guilty of it myself. Let's play a little devil's advocate. Little Johnny and Sally and Susie and whoever's, whatever your kids' names are, you know, every week or two get pawned or pimped off by their school or said coaches or staff to run around selling Girl Scout cookies. Love me some Girl Scout cookies, my favorite. The mints are great. But we need to raise money.
Thin Mint.
Yeah, Thin Mint. That's a good one, too. Classic. Boy, has the price gone up on those.
Oh, man.
But we need a new football field. $1 million for a turf field.
AstroTurf.
Yeah. Why do we need that? Well, it's easier maintenance. Well, not if you're paying $1 million up front. It's not easier.
Yeah.
How about you just keep paying Jim over there to mow that grass and whatnot? But so we find all these creative ways to raise money when we need a T-shirt, a new uniform, some sprinklers for the football field, yada yada. List goes on. We all play a part in this. We all do it. I'm guilty as a fundraiser / coach / parent.
It's a hell of a racket.
Whew, where you just keep pimping these kids out, because who can say no to that smiley little face?
Yeah, some of these traveling leagues and stuff as well.
Well, you know, those are elective. I shouldn't have to help you pay for your kid to go play baseball. I'm having a hard time paying for him to, $45 to play summer league at said local facility. But on that topic, on that note, so I've given you kind of, I hope you kind of see where I'm going with this. It's going to be a slap in the face. So we're all guilty of it, right?
Yeah.
So we found ways to raise all this said money. Do you know that a turf football field, and if I'm wrong, call me out on it, but I'm going to say it's 750,000 million. I've heard different numbers. I've been a part of committees. Let's use the number $1 million for that said football field for 25 to 40 kids a year to play on 8 times, and that's pushing it because home games you only play half your season,
That's
so
right.
maybe 5 or 6.
Home and away.
So we found a way to raise that kind of money for that said field to be used 5 days out of the whole year. But if you took that same dollar amount, see, you all want to ask the government to step in and do more and more.
Yeah.
I don't ask my government to do a whole lot that I know that I can do, or with the help of you or our community can do. So let's use that 1 million and divide that by, say, let's be generous, $50,000 salary, and that's probably pushing it. I bet there's a couple of guys, we're talking about war vets. We could be talking about anybody, but I want to take care of our vets. You know, just because they had their leg or arm amputated, you know, they get new prosthetics. They're still functional. They care. They want to be a part. What's so wrong with hiring them? Put a gun in their hand and, use their hearts. They'll get to know these kids. You see where I'm going with this?
So you're suggesting, and I'm following, possibly returning vets into the schools around the country, getting them, trained on these procedures and, whether it's a locked front door, maybe they're carrying a gun, and, at least you got somebody there in the moment when something like what just happened ends up popping off.
With a lot of experience.
And, their heart is probably in the right place. They were off protecting the country, and what would be different of coming and protecting our youth?
Well, they're crazy now, Mike. They got traumatic stress.
Or they're the biggest threat. These guys got all this training, and now they're not in the service anymore, and they're back here.
We're only playing devil's advocate, folks. Because we are huge on the vets. Mikey's a vet. I'm a big advocate.
And we've heard it. I've heard the term out of actually law enforcement. Some of the biggest threats returning to this country are veterans that didn't die over there. So,
oh, God, that one teacher that got caught on video the other day bashing kids for going to the military. Why are you going to the military? Whatever, So back to that question of said $1 million. You don't have to raise $1 million tomorrow. You could raise the 20,000. I know a local guy, and we're going to bring him in the studio. I'm not going to use his name. I never will do that without permission.
If he wants to come on here and vouch that he'd do this, and
very good friend of mine.
Yes, I know him well.
I've already reached out to him prior to doing this. He has not got back, but he will. He's probably already watching the last episode. But so say we raise $25,000. I bet that veteran, as long as our government allows him to make a certain amount of money, he is wounded. So if he's going to get a job, I'm sure they don't want him having a real job. But what is wrong with the idea of pimping out Johnny and Sammy and Slappy and all of them to raise money to hire vets? Now you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're giving a vet a job. Huge benefits there.
So you're saying if this isn't a paid position through the school board, or if they don't want to hire security, a way to fundraise this salary for the veteran possibly could be through fundraising.
Wow. What a concept.
Wow.
Not asking your government to do a damn thing. Because they'll just corrupt it anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, some schools are, I know, without saying where, but some schools are unions, I think, maybe. Unions for the teachers, is it just the teachers?
I don't believe there's a janitorial union. If I'm wrong,
I didn't know if it covered everyone in the school system or just teachers, but it probably is a teachers.
Not attacking teachers here. Not going to go that direction.
Don't know enough about it to even make a guess. I've heard union, I've heard teachers, so I don't know if that covers everybody in the school or just the teachers, and then janitors, security,
sure,
blah blah blah.
But yeah, so if you can eliminate the federal grants or the state grants and just get somebody, and this is the types of conversations we should be having. we're not doing nothing. Well, how about we get somebody to allow this to happen? I don't need you, Mrs. Senator or Mrs. or Mr. Representative, to budget or allocate. What I need you to do is say, we care enough to agree with the citizens. So we will say yes. If you raise the money, now granted the state police and the federal whatever agencies will want to be in charge of, is Mr. Smith, is he going to be able to handle this job? I don't know.
Too much stress, maybe?
Yeah, well, if the government trusted him enough to protect your freedoms, I think we should be able to, trust them enough to protect your children. And if you can't see the difference between that, then I'm probably not talking to you.
And I agree with that. It's like these people were, it's just like all these
good enough?
Yeah, good enough. Or, it's like the guy that did 20 years in the service, gets out, maybe does 30 with the FBI or CIA, and then on his deathbed he decides to talk a little bit, and then it's like, he's a kook.
Yeah. Yeah,
he was credible for 55 years of his life, folks.
Yeah. We have a current president that was totally credible for decades. Anyway,
yes.
So if you can convince said group of parents, now maybe I should take this in front of my community and say, listen, there's got to be a way. But I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all the rules and laws to all this. But if said group came up with enough monies to, where I'm from, maybe one security guard is enough. Where you're at, maybe two is what is needed. But all these parents that really care about Johnny having a new uniform. And then when something like this Florida catastrophe, and it is a catastrophe, when this happens, we got to do something. Well, listen, Jack, you sat around and did nothing all this time. So I'm not asking you to say I'm right or wrong, but isn't this an option? It's a credible option. You trusted Mr. Smith to go fight your war. He wants to feel loved and welcome back to the community. We should not just throw him in his house and say, you got a prosthetic, you're worthless to us now. They're not worthless.
No.
All these vets are they got so much to offer. And one of those big offers is their heart. I think that I would want that vet. I know a lot of vets. And I want them to get friendly with my children, to get to know them, to be able to walk up and down the hall. I don't want them seeing a cop.
Yeah, no.
Local hero.
Yep. We don't want that. We don't want, bars on the windows. And
this isn't a prison. No.
Well, and another thing I would like to see, and this is on a side note, is just, the teaching of the flag brought back, into the schools,
Shame on you. What a suggestion. That's horrible.
And I know the American Legions for years did that, and they would have a person down at their post that voluntarily would go down, talk to, second hour or second grade or third grade, and they'd break down the flag etiquette to them and what it means. And that's something that's been separated. So there's a lot of fundamental things I'd like to see, but, this is not, where we're at right now, this is a pretty damn good option that I
you don't have room for all that flag attention because, DARE programs so much more important, Again, devil's advocate. You're going to catch me on the show being devil's advocate all the time. I'm all for the flag. I am all for, I'm even for DARE. But the topic today.
Well, let's give everything a little bit of play, right? Not just all DARE and no flag or.
When are we going to get to the point as people? And I think we might be. I see a lot of people, and I hear a lot of people coming back to the direction that I was raised. And I'm not saying it was the right way, but at what point do we get as a society where we've had enough? Where we actually admit as adults, and young adults, old adults, the old adults know they kind of helped along this situation. Well, at what point do we get to where we're just honest with ourselves? We have done this to ourselves. The government didn't do this. If anything, they helped it along.
Well,
you see, agendas.
It's a convincing, like we talked about, there's a lot of people, and, the word sheep has been used, but puppet, just, a lot of people are busy, the hustle and bustle, they got very little time, and when they do get home, they got kids to feed and homework to do, and they're maybe got a little bit of news on to feel like they're informed, but, they got CNN on, or maybe it might even be Fox News, but we know that's
PBS.
there is 93% of an agenda for media out there, folks, and there's only 7 or 8% left for this other side, and it just really depends. It's like if you don't listen to the news, you're ill-informed or underinformed, and if you do watch it, then you're ill-informed. So it's tough, but
this is a topic that should not be tough. I don't need CNN. I don't need Fox. I don't even want to listen to you if you say, I heard.
Yes.
No, come on, man. You are educated enough. I am educated enough to where I don't need my local senator or politician or CNN or Fox to tell me what's good for my children. What's good for my children is stay the hell out of it, Mr. Government, and we, the people, have a solution. Just give it the thumbs up, I suppose is what I'm looking for. And if we can do that, well, by God, we've already proven that we can raise money for T-shirts and said football fields. Shouldn't protecting our children come to the top of the list?
Yeah, I
sure wish we had a phone that worked in here. That's coming soon.
That's coming soon as well. Some kind of communication you guys can call in. Eventually, we've talked about we want to go live. We got all kinds of ideas. That's up to you guys. We're hoping. Give us the feedback on that, what you'd like to see, what you'd like us to go over. But yeah, no, that is huge.
At some point, we have to quit asking. JFK said it best, and the verbiage might be a little bit wrong, but I don't quit asking the government to do so much for you. Especially when we as people, we know what's good for us. I don't need BC to say this is what's good for you. Well, shouldn't you be offended at that? But yet there's so many people that fall in line with it. Well, the news media and the politicians said, I need this. Well, can you pray about it? Or even if you're not the praying type, think about it for a minute. Talk to your spouse, your loved ones, your father, your mother, and hey, is this good for us? If you want to listen to a guy or a gal that is a career microphone expert. By the way, Mike and I are not career experts on these things. We're learning as we go. But if you need that, I'll pray for you because that's the real problem. We need to get in a room together and say, leave all the biases out of it. And let's put, as long as we as people put the children first, I think we can come to a goal very quickly. It's when we talk about all you always use the word eddies,
Yeah.
Watch out when you're going down that river to, slide into an eddy.
Start doing circles.
Yeah. Stay away from the eddies. Stay the course. The focus is the children. Your politicians and your news media are not going to give you the answer. You have the answer in your own mind. As a group of people, don't they work for us? So if we come to them and we're unanimous, even a high 85% say this is what we want, who would stand in your way?
Well, how many times do we elect these people in, then they're up on stage, we're watching them, and they're trying to convince you that, the Second Amendment might not apply to you so much. And then it's like, well, what about you guys? And we need the protection and, or they need the fence hired a little bit at the White House. That was put in under Obama. They're going to raise it by 3 or 6 feet. I mean,
why?
What do you got to worry about? These constitutions or amendments, they don't apply to some people. They apply to everybody. And it's are
you Mikey, are you getting a little tired of the legislation that takes effect? Or let's put it this way. If I was president or even a little senator and I had a child in the school, my child is more important than yours because I can have security guards, armed security guards. Armed security guards can protect me and my family, but boy, do not think for 1 minute, Mr. Jones, that your child even comes close to being on my child's realm of existence. If you need a police escort or your daughter or your son as a politician, sir, what makes you any different? Because the word or the title politician? Well, didn't I help you put in you got in that office because of the people. You are a people. This whole career politician, and I'll spin that a little bit to where you want to solve some of these gun issues. Get the career politicians out of there. You can't have an agenda if you only got 4 or 8 years. You don't have enough time to build an agenda.
That's right. And that's what we need to term limits. I'm all in favor of term limits.
And I would love to know. There's got to be somebody out there that keeps track of this. I mean, I keep track of strange things, but term limits tied to gun control. How many politicians are out there in bed with the NRA? And I love me some NRA. They do a lot of good. They do a lot of training. But how many of these folks are in bed with whoever to keep this agenda going? We've given them too much time. The more time you have to push your agenda, the more likely it is for your agenda to be
listened to and thought about and put through the old fine-tuned, well-oiled machine and starts pumping. We said it before, you give idiots something, it's real hard to take back. I don't want that. I don't want anything to do with somebody I vote for up there trying to talk me out of my rights, but they're good for them. They apply to them only, and you don't need that. No,
sooner or later, as a society, as a people, as a voting people, we must come to terms with the fact that, again, I've said it before and I'll keep saying it, we've done this to ourselves. The easiest way out of this is two decisions. One, you must admit there's a problem, right? And I think
yes.
I think the majority of the people are now admitting that there is definitely a problem. They might be on different sides of the fence, but it's still a fence. We still see the problem. The second part is do away with agendas. I have zero agenda here but to protect my children. And there's not a man or a woman that can sit in this guest seat and walk in here and debate that. They cannot defend the other side of that. I care about the children. Yeah. I've given you one option. I'm interested in others, but this particular option is the only credible one that I have. I mean, nothing else could work. I don't want my schools to be prisons.
Well, it's like you'll find these agendas. People are like, oh, I want, government's too big. Let's shut them down. And they'll rally in their local towns across the U.S., shut down the government, shut down the government. Or not shut down, but shut down, we want smaller government. And then wherever people are yelling the loudest, let's just pick, Phoenix. They're yelling the loudest up there. The government hears them. So, all right, fine. We're going to help reduce the government. We're going to shut down that government facility in your town.
Wait a minute.
And then these people get mad.
Directly. Yeah.
These people get mad, and then they're like, wait, I'm not going to re-vote for you for election because you're shutting down this in my town, and there's going to be people who lose jobs. And don't you get it, you idiots, that's going around in every town around the U.S.?
I strictly asked you to eliminate somebody else's stuff.
Yes.
Leave mine alone.
The agenda changes. All of a sudden, this person sounded great. They wanted this shut down. They want smaller government. But when it's going to affect them personally, all of a sudden, agendas show.
I want to follow the Constitution all the time.
Whether it affects me, hurts me, benefits me.
It does. Yeah, see, that's the devil's advocate side of it. It sounds great. Oh, to live in by the way, we're not a democracy. We are a republic.
Yes.
And I love these laws until they actually are not really in my best interest for my personal agenda. Well, you can't have it both ways. The Constitution is very simple to follow. And the problem is our government wants us to follow it, but they don't follow it. They don't even remotely close follow it. But we have to follow it.
They subvert it sometimes.
Sometimes. Just every other time.
Yeah. Nope, the subversion's got to stop, folks. And, there is a great awakening coming, possibly,
let's hope so.
To touch base on some of that, Q clearance, look into it. It's the highest level. So if somebody's telling us something, you might want to listen.
Don't be afraid to listen. It costs you nothing.
It costs you nothing. It costs you nothing to be offended as well.
I love that word, offended. You won't wake up with leprosy just because you're offended, though. I promise you. Offended is just a feeling.
Yes, there's going to be no new taxes implemented over you being offended, or for your family to wow, your offense is really costing us lately.
Yeah. Well, you can take your offendedness and sleep on it, because that's it. I mean, you don't lose nothing. Your credibility's not shot because you're offended. So anyway, I hope I or we have helped open your minds a little bit. But the gun control thing, really think about it, folks. If we all come together and ask a local veteran, and we raise the money, and we've proven that we can, I think this is an option. We could do this immediately. We just have to agree, get in the same room and agree that our children come first. Not agendas,
I
not
don't think
politicians.
there's too many people that would disagree with that. I would like to put out to any of the listeners, people that happen to watch this video, maybe leave a comment, drop an email, whatever suits your fancy. But tell us what you think about this whole idea that Scott brought up, the veterans in schools around the country. Is there an issue with that? Do you feel like, nah, these guys are fine to go put their lives on the line for my freedom, but I don't really want them around my kids? Or is it a great idea?
Sure.
You let us know, and we can. We're gonna have a part 2 on this for sure. There's gonna be a follow up. The gun debate is not going anywhere. It's a very hot topic right now. It always seems to be, doesn't it? Right after
last tidbit I just seen on the news before we came in the studio. Somebody organized some children to stand in front of the White House. It's a sad situation. I agree with this, but when are we going to quit putting it? You want to put the kids first, put them first the way I just suggested. Don't put them in front of that White House saying, we need to change stuff. Well, the kids can't change it, folks. The adults must change it.
This isn't Kent State and Vietnam.
Don't use my children as a pawn. Use the adults. The adults are the ones to blame, not the children. Quit using the children.
What was it? What were they? So you just caught a glimpse. I'm assuming. What was it? They were out there protesting just gun.
Due to the recent massacre. I think the word massacre, and you know what, media, quit using big, bold words. Your scare tactics are crap, okay? Well, but that's what it said. Due to the local massacre, children demand a change in gun laws. And I'm not going to tell you who it was. I'm not here to defend any one of them. I'll put them all down. They're all garbage. They all have an agenda. But shame on all of us for needing to use our children as pawns. It was a tragedy. I'm against it. I want to do everything I can to stop it from happening again. But you need to make the decision. You need to be honest with yourself. We need, as a group, to be honest with ourselves and say, now's the time to put bipartisan, whatever it is, your personal, put the kids first, and we all will fall in line. Nobody can go against that. You cannot debate. Children are first.
Children are first. You heard it there first, folks. Right here. You heard it here first. We are definitely wanting to hear back from you on this. Leave some comments, please. Let us know what you want to hear in the future. If you'd like to keep this going a little, it's not going anywhere. This is a hot topic. Steamrolling it. Again, I'd like to just put out there guns. Anytime you use any gun and take it and you go to do something bad to another human, that is an assault gun at that point. You can have eat your cereal with your fork, but if you stab somebody with your fork, you just assaulted them with a fork. So now, is that an assault fork or is it just a fork? Think about that.
Assault pressure cookers.
Oh yeah, ban them. I just bought one, but they're bad.
Horrible.
So here, Mike and Scott from the Patriot Hour.
Protect your rights.
Don't give them up. Don't throw anything away. Hold on to what you got, folks. It's hard to get anything back once you give it away to idiots.
They're biting off little pieces at a time.
Yeah, that's how it comes, folks. They're not gonna. We all got free will, right? Free will. So they got to convince you of your free will. That's how it's worked. Look at the history books. History repeats itself.
They never
convince you.
They never take a big bite at once. They just nibble a little bit of your freedoms every year until one day you wake up and you are in a socialist state.
That is exactly how it works, folks. There you have it. Scott from the Patriot Hour, co-host, constitutionalist, good guy. Listen to him when he speaks. All right.
Debate me, argue. Give us some info, folks.
All right. I'm Mike from the Patriot Hour. We are out of here till next time. Keep doing your thing and don't give anything away, fellow patriots.
God bless.
God bless.